There are things we do in karate. Often they're very tense. Many of them are to build strength, many of them build structure and they're necessary, but often they're very limiting. So when you do forms like this, where you grip the ground and you bring the shoulders down and you pull the lats in and grip and circle those legs and grip the floor, it's a great conditioning exercise. Also teaches you very well how to compress. And compressing is wonderful, but it's limiting. What you're going to find is when you grip the floor like this and you turn your toes in, and you go in, they're fine. But when you go out and you're gripping the floor with those hips, your hips cannot expand out properly, which is what you really want. You have to learn how to roll in with the joints and compress, that's fine, but you also have to know how to roll back out. You know, I see people all the time that can bring their hips in, but they bring their chest out, but they don't bring their hips out. One of the biggest epiphanies I ever had with that was I was watching a Bagua video about 25 years ago. I think it was Park Buk Nam. And when I was taught to do this type of work, right, you'd go like this, and you would tense, and you would stay in, and you would tense like this, which is great. When they were doing it, it looked like this. They would open, go like this, open and move. And they would open the hips up, as opposed to just staying close. Now, why is that important for tension? Look, again, when you're doing motions that compress, it's okay to circle the body in. But there are many times in life that you have to learn how to expand. And you cannot expand if you always teach your hips to go in like this and tense and rotate, because you need this. So what I'm suggesting is not that you stop doing these exercises. It's just as you get older and you want to soften up a little bit, you have to add to them. So sometimes you do exercises with tension, where you tense up and you rotate to the full and you grip the floor. There are other times, though, it's important that when you do these things, you have to learn to expand your hips and close. Expand, close. That way you get full range of motion, not just this all the time. As you get older, you're not going to be able to rely on this muscular tension. The object of karate is to go from hard to hard soft. So again, to do that, more than anything, what you have to start learning to do is not just hold this stance, is to learn to open these hips up. So sometimes I'm open, sometimes I'm closed, sometimes I move, and I load, and I unload. So when you're practicing this walking, sometimes it should be like this, but sometimes you should open. Sometimes you should learn to turn the other way, strangely enough. The more directions you can move and change, the more ability you're going to have to hit off angles and directions and do things that most people can't do. And I'm telling you, as you get older, you're going to have to. You know, muscle and tension is a young man's game. Being shorter and softer is an older man's game. If you don't learn that, as you progress, you're just going to get weaker and weaker and weaker, and your art's going to suffer.